Yo, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? What is going on? Welcome to the New York live update. What is happening? Bitcoin's on a mad move today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some big things happening in the markets this week, and hopefully today's live is going to put things into perspective for you. Mad love and respect to everyone passing through to today's live. I will give you a little bit of a warning right now. The mini market maker will be blessing us with her presence today, guys. So you might hear a bit of fussing in the background. That is my daughter sitting on the other computer watching the good old YouTube channels where people are doing absolute madness, but she finds it interesting. It's going to keep her quiet for a bit. So happy days, ladies and gentlemen. If you do hear a little sweet voice in the background, you know it's the mini market maker. Mad props to everyone passing through to today's live. And today's live is going to be talking about stocks that could likely move Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, if you are new to the channel, mad love and respect. Be sure to share the live, guys, so we can get as many pattern watchers as possible to pass through to understand the market makers' trickery inside of the marketplace. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's roll with it. Let's have a conversation. All right. Yo, what's happening? Respect from Alabama. No, Albania. Mad love to Albania. What's happening? Scorpio, what is good? Pattern hunters, what is happening? Hybrid hustlers. I like that, Spiky. I do like that. Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen. So good morning, wherever you are in the world. Mad love for passing through. Now, listen. There's something important that is happening right now, especially in the book map. And this is what we need to be aware of. If we go back to last week's live on Thursday, we sort of saw the same story happening with Bitcoin. Flip over to this. Do you remember this live stream? It's called Bitcoin Pulls Back, Setting Up Reversal Potentially. And we were eyeing the idea that Bitcoin was likely to try and make a move towards the 23,500 zone. And we were coming with the idea that the liquidity down below in this part of the actual book map was going to show interest from traders to step in and start marking price up again. They eventually did it, guys. They did it a few hours later. Now, what's important is, are we seeing the same thing happening again in the book map? So let's go over to it. Check this out. The book map is showing a phenomenal amount of liquidity. You can see down below here, guys, we have got 784 Bitcoin at 20,800. And you can see the commitment is present. The delta reads 2,431. And we go back to that live stream of last week. We saw exactly the same situation where the delta was hit at the lows. Now, what we saw afterwards was a spike low to the downside. They had grabbed the liquidity and then they reversed. So are we going to see the same thing, or is Bitcoin just simply going to bleed lower and start taking back previous zones of vectors in the chart? So we make a quick reference over to the 4-hour time frame. Now, some of you may be of the understanding that Bitcoin is currently creating this structure in the chart, okay? Now, we would understand it to be a level 1 retrace in the zone. We do have vector candles inside of this zone right here, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the 1-hour time frame. You can see that we have vector candles inside this area here. And then we've got vector candles down here all the way towards the 19,989 point in the chart. Now, what's important, guys, is this. We have news announcements by stocks that could trigger Bitcoin's movement to the downside or to the upside. It all depends on the earnings results from companies like Google, or should I say Alphabet. All right? We got Microsoft. We've even got Visa. Now, these are in principle tech stocks with the exception of Visa, which is on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, listen, Alphabet is a very heavily traded asset. All right? Let me put it into perspective for you. This is the chart for Alphabet. It gives me everything about its stock. All right, earnings per share rating, what kind of group, relative strength group it's coming from. And you can see that Alphabet has been dropping down. Now, if you look down below here, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing the quarter on quarter results. And it's showing a deceleration in the results. Went from 186% to 81% to 45%, 20%. Now, after tonight, after the close of New York, they will release their earnings results. Whether they hit expectations or whether they miss them favorably to the upside or to the downside, the impact of what happens with Alphabet tonight may be shown in Bitcoin. Why? Because quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin follows the Nasdaq and the S&P, has a good correlation to the S&P and the Nasdaq. And you can see Nasdaq is rolling over. Bitcoin is rolling over. S&P is rolling, sort of holding as well. But Bitcoin is dropping lower. Now, what you've got to be aware of, ladies and gentlemen, is this. The dollar index has been trading positively for the past 5 hours. It's been moving up. Where we would expect Bitcoin to drop, it hasn't. And I've said it before, Bitcoin is always last to move. Bitcoin is always the last thing to move. Now, is it because Bitcoin in principle is telling us that a move in the dollar index could be a false move? Could this move to the upside on the dollar index be a trap to make us believe that the dollar dominance is present? You pull up the dollar index itself, ladies and gentlemen, you can see bright as day. Let me just get rid of this here. You can see bright as day that the vector candles are present in the dollar index. We know that Euro USD has taken a nosedive to the downside, hit the range daily low of today's session, and we expect the range daily low to be a point where price tends to reverse. We've got vector candles up here. We've had the recovery of this zone. Look left and you can see that we do have vector candles inside of this area. Before they actually make the move towards that zone, they may mark price back up again. Going into today at 3 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, we have the news announcements for the consumer confidence for the US dollar. So when you've got news announcements like that, you want to try and work out what is it that they are actually preparing for. Are they preparing for a positive thing or a negative thing? So we go over to USD JPY. And you can see dollar yen is sort of forming this structure and following the narrative of breaking down. Is the dollar dominance going to start faring off? Are we going to see the dollar depreciate? We want the dollar to depreciate, ladies and gentlemen, because then that gives room for assets against the US dollar to move up, which would mean likelihood USD CAD. We want that to drop, which means that if that drops, that could be a potential for oil to rise up. All right. So it's favorable for the Canadian dollar against the US dollar. All right. This is what's really important about trying to break down the macros. Now, when I say macros, they're talking about inflation and recession, ladies and gentlemen. The Fed is refusing to say, yes, we are in a recession. The yields are inverted and they are not putting it down and saying that it is a recession. 100 base point rate hike, 75, 50. What's it going to be, Mr. Fed? What's it going to be? Because it doesn't look like they want to increase the interest rates because the last CPI reading didn't factor in the idea of oil actually dropping down. It didn't factor this drop. So the reading of the CPI data itself from last week may not be true. Could that be the reason why the Fed is a little bit reluctant to increase rates aggressively? Because if you are increasing the interest rates very aggressively, that's going to put pressure on businesses and consumers across the US. We've still got the problem of Russia and Ukraine. Let's have a look at the wheat futures. Let's just understand the wheat futures themselves. Hold on a second. Wheat futures. Let's roll with, I think it's Z. There you go. Go to the futures contract. Where are we at? Futures are slowly dropping down. That's good. And they're coming back into the previous levels of what they were before the war actually came about. All right. So that's a good sign. As long as wheat's dropping, then that's cool. All right. But as long as the tension is still present, then we're still going to have that problem. Traders are going to engage in that problem. Okay. Now listen. Going back into Bitcoin, going into the shorter time frames. I'm going to tell you now, from now until tomorrow, we may not get that much price action. Okay? Bitcoin might stall. We're waiting for the Fed and the FOMC press conference to come out to give us the understanding that they're going to increase the rates or not. They're going to increase the rates, but what amount are they going to do it from? This is going to be very important. Okay? So price action may be stalling, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin might stay like this for the next 24 hours until the release of that information. I'm looking at the book map itself, guys, and I can see bright as day. There is a lot of liquidity down here that traders are putting their money where their mouth is in order to get filled. Will the market spike lower to fill this, to try and come back up a little bit? Because there is a lot of imbalance in the chart, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some movement right now. What time is it? It's 2 o'clock. Markets are now open. We're waiting half an hour for the futures markets to open. 3 p.m. We've got the consumer confidence coming out. So that's going to be a very important time. Let's see. Is Bitcoin going to at least give us a little bit of movement to the upside to come back up and recover this red vector candle inside of this zone? Because everything is flat across the board. Nasdaq and S&P ain't moving. S&P has just spiked down lower, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if there's a gap down. No, not open just yet. It should be open. There should be a gap down, ladies and gentlemen. There will be a gap down in the S&P. Very small gap down, to be honest with you. May have a small gap down, but I just want to have a look at the futures markets. There you go. Nasdaq sharply breaks down lower, but comes straight back up. That could be what we may see Bitcoin do very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to actually come back up and do the fire today? Let's just flick over to Ethereum just for a split second to see what's going on there. So Ethereum is breaking down and going lower. Volume picking up. Big stop in volume candle. But what's important is these 2 pins right here are very important. All right, we are now working the US Brink session. Now, usually what we do is look for in the US Brink session. You can see if you have the US box right there and the Brinks box is down here as well. We are anticipating that at this low point right here, we're going to see some stop hunt plays and then price reverses back out. And like I said, tonight, after the New York close, Google will be declaring its earnings results. That could lead Asia to do some big moves in Bitcoin tonight, guys, and Ethereum. So please be mindful of your trading. Frankly, I would stay away from the markets until the Fed releases the statement and that it's laid out exactly where we stand with the current situation with inflation and recession, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Let's have a look. Who's going in here? What's going on? Who's in the room with it? What about consumer confidence report, though? Well, look, let's look at it like this. The consumer confidence report is very important, guys. All right? Check this out. The consumer confidence report shows a survey of about 3,000 households which asks respondents to rate the relative levels of current and future economic conditions, including labor availability, business conditions, and overall economic situation. All right? Traders care because it's a financial confidence is a leading indicator of consumer spending, which accounts for every majority of overall economic activity. So let's put things into perspective. All right. Are we in stagflation? Is economic growth slowing or increasing? It's slowing down. Apple have already said that they're slowing down on spending and employment. Okay, cool. We can see that already previous results from the purchasing managers are showing that they are slowing things down in preparation for what may come if the Fed does actually increase interest rates, because businesses, they borrow money. Now, those interest rates are going to be increasing. So that means it's going to cost them more money to service those interest rates. Now, let alone that's going to be the problem for businesses. If the consumer isn't spending his money, then there's a problem. But what about the consumer that may not be in work? What about the consumer that is actually claiming benefit because he has no work to go to? Or the cost of getting to work is not worth it. So economic slowdown is what they're projecting. Inflation itself is rising. It may have peaked. But now we've got unemployment as an issue. These factors right here correlate to stagflation. All right? We don't just have inflation. We've got stagflation where a number of factors are coming into play, which are going to impact the overall marketplace. And it's all about spending, ladies and gentlemen. Gone are the days where we would have high volatility at the cheapest cost possible because the interest rates have been really low. Now, all of a sudden, the interest rates are having to go high because everything has been flying up in price. And the Fed is looking to try and control that. When are they going to start printing again? That's the next question, if they're not already doing so. But what are we going to look for in terms of trade as traders trying to exploit movement? Tonight, Google will declare its earnings. Microsoft is probably going to do the same thing, and we've got Apple doing it as well tomorrow. These are big tech stocks that are going to make traders commit liquidity in the Nasdaq. And if they commit liquidity in the Nasdaq and they buy stock, that means Bitcoin is probably going to experience that sort of buying behavior later on the assumption that things are positive for Microsoft and Google. We can already see that there's a deceleration in the actual earnings of Google. So there could be a little bit more downside with Bitcoin if the things are not looking good for Alphabet, Microsoft, and Apple. All right? Now, just having a look here what you guys are saying. Mad love to you guys. What's going on? Yes, always pay yourselves. And guys, listen, man. Tomorrow is a very important day. Now, the reason I say it's important is because if you are new to the hybrid system, you're going to see a lot being spoken about the Fed. And that's the common theme right now, guys. A lot is being spoken about the Fed and the interest rates and what's going to happen next. All I'm saying to you guys is avoid being involved in trades before the news comes out. Now, I'm talking like an hour before, maybe even 5 hours before, or even a day before. You can see from the chart that nothing is happening. Okay, whatever pattern it is you decide to trade from, whether you are a range trader looking for a breakout on the move to the upside from here, so whether you're placing limit orders up here, price goes up, retrace continuation, happy days, or the other way around where you've got drop, retrace continuation lower. All right, there are range traders that are waiting for this narrative to play out. But let's look at it like this. If you are that trader and you're looking for a breakout to the upside or to the downside, whether it's a bearish flag or a bullish flag, whatever it is you want it to be, just be mindful. They are already giving us the idea that they could be trapping traders. Look at the wicks. The wicks are showing the hand of the market maker. He can see there's orders all over the place and people are looking to get filled because they're just not patient enough. They're not letting the market tell them when it's time to step in. They want to step in on the idea that they understand that the market is going to move in their favor just because they've placed orders in and around these zones. You've got to be very, very careful, ladies and gentlemen, because this is where people lose money. And I'm telling you now, with the Fed rate tomorrow, this is exactly what it's going to do. If Bitcoin is going to trade like this for the next 24 hours until the Fed rate, once they release that information, price is going to go up, it's going to come down. They're going to go up again and come back down. And then the conference itself, they're going to ask a question. It's going to be favorable for Bitcoin. Then they'll answer it again, and then they might say something negative, which will send Bitcoin down. My advice to you is this, ladies and gentlemen, not financial advice, more so common sense. Do not trade the high volatile times when people are speaking and they could say something that could trigger the market to go crazy. To have a standing chance in the marketplace, ladies and gentlemen, wait until the news finalizes, all right? So 7:30 tomorrow. The press conference might last about 20 minutes, half an hour. Then 8 o'clock comes, and then we have 1 more hour until the New York Stock Exchange closes, and then we will be going into Asia. Then Asia will be reacting to the information. So Thursday could lead price. So hypothetically, if Bitcoin moves lower from now until the Fed, and then price moves up, we would anticipate Bitcoin to do a midweek reversal at the highs, come back down, recover the vectors from all of the Fed news announcements, and then initiate its true trend, ladies and gentlemen. There's so much to take into consideration, guys. I'm telling you now. Tino, will Ethereum follow Bitcoin's movement? Let me tell you something, all right? If you haven't noticed it already, I just mentioned it very shortly. The dollar index, we expect it to move up, all right, when the dollar dominance is present, and we expect Bitcoin to move down when that's the case. So check this out. If you're going to use dollar index, go to capital.com. Let me split the chart for you. Just 2 seconds. Here we go. All right. So US dollar index right there, and let's get Bitcoin up. What's going on? All right. You can see Bitcoin in principle should have moved lower. Look at the base. Whilst dollar index was moving up, Bitcoin didn't move, ladies and gentlemen. And that's important because we saw that happen last time. Dollar index dropped and Bitcoin didn't move. Why is Bitcoin last to move? Are they preparing Bitcoin? You know? Oh, bro, listen, it's always going to be intense, my friend, because this is the hardest, easiest way to make money. And this game is the hardest. It's the game of uncertainty, bro. Anyone that talks quietly about this and just says, yeah, price is going to go to the upside. We anticipate interest to come here. How are you going to understand what's going on if you're not diving deeper into it and taking it seriously, my bro? I'm joking, my friend. Mad love to you, bro. It is pretty intense. And ladies and gentlemen, if I speak a little bit too fast, just go down to the cogwheel on the bottom right and just reduce the speed of the video if I am going a little bit too fast, and there is a lot of information to take in. But My goal is to try and get as much information as possible inside of this live so that you are not trading blind. All right? Whatever I say, I know nothing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just giving you my opinion on what I've been doing in the markets for the past 15 years. I'm just watching price and I'm giving you my understanding of how they are likely to move price from one point to the next. How many of you would have considered the idea that the dollar index moves up and Bitcoin does nothing? Would that not trigger a cause in your mind to say what's going on? Surely we've been watching Bitcoin and the dollar index play out quite frequently. When dollar index goes down, Bitcoin goes up, ladies and gentlemen. But we haven't been seeing that. Could Bitcoin still be that hedge? Could there be a possibility that's the case? Now, Bitcoin has taken a bit of a nosedive to the downside, and Bitcoin right now is making its move to the downside. Let's quickly go over to the actual book map itself. Looks like they're going to try and come into this zone, ladies and gentlemen. Just need to keep an eye on that Bitcoin on its 20,900. Remember, this is what happened last time. Bitcoin did this last time, guys. They came down and hit the liquidity to the downside, so just be mindful of that. Bitcoin would have to actually release into last week's low and come into these previous vectors down here. Let me just put this up. You got previous green vector candles inside of this area here, and we've got some commitment down here at the 20 zone. So if Bitcoin is going to release low, it needs to break beyond last week's low. Let me just bring this up right here. Let me bring the candlesticks closer so you guys can see. Bitcoin showing some nice move. US Brink session play. That is standard. Just be mindful. They're recovering the green vector candle right here. Be careful. We haven't had a test of the daily open. Patrons of the channel, you know when we say that, you know, you understand what that means. We have yet to have a test of the daily open. So please, guys, if you're favoring to go short, please be mindful. It's a tricky zone. There's a lot of commitment down here. They may initiate a stop hunt low. Look, the delta down below, 3,633 Bitcoin is being absorbed in this area. The delta is starting to increase down here. Here we go, 986. The liquidity is actually starting to go. And we've had over here 880 Bitcoin, 1,257 Bitcoin. They did this exact same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Nice stop hunt low for them to try and make an initial move back up. They did it last week, guys. Go to the video. Bitcoin pulls back on Thursday where they initiate the reversal. We are in exactly the same situation. And why is it important? Because human nature doesn't change. They move the markets exactly the same way all the time. We're just trying to establish when. Now we're collating the ideas of confluences all together to understand if Bitcoin is going to break down lower, spike into last week's low, trigger the interest from traders that were present at that point in time last week inside of this area here where they were able to trap traders to go short. And what did they do? They shifted back up to the upside, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's keep an eye on this area right here where we at 15-minute time frame. What have we got? We've got at least 20 more minutes until the market actually opens. That's the futures markets themselves. Okay. Oh, I've got the mini market maker trying to do the business right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let it fall, I'm on the horse. The reports on Alphabet and Visa on Webull showing up. Are they showing up? What are they saying? What are they saying? I haven't been able to check that out. Tino, drink some tea. Do you know what I could do with my inhaler, ladies and gentlemen? My throat is kind of dry. Chillax. Nah, bro, listen. I do not chill out. We bring the fire every time. Where's that liquidity gone, ladies and gentlemen? Where's the liquidity gone? Because you're going to remember this when you're trading to yourself. You're going to ask these questions. Where's the liquidity gone? Or I could just simply say, where's the liquidity gone, bro? Is there anything happening here? You ain't going to let it install in your mind, bro. There ain't going to be no association. You're going to remember this stream as that crazy stream. The guy screaming and shouting at the chart, giving you the information. But you're going to pull that information the next time you come to the charts and you're aware of exactly what price is looking or trying to do. It's going to be an impression in your mind. And that impression in your mind could save you from going in the wrong trade. Trust me, there's a method to the madness, ladies and gentlemen. Mini market maker is on her way. Where are you going, my darling? Leave it there, my darling. Look, all the people. Say hello. Hello. See, she sends her love, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. What have we got here? Violet vector candle in the zone. Now, this is important, guys. This is very important. Start of a new candlestick. They've spiked the move lower. They've done exactly what they did last time. This is very important, guys. This is very important. Here we go. Will we see this candlestick getting recovered? Because this behavior is pretty sharp. Ladies and gentlemen, I do want to apologize. My daughter, she ain't causing me no problem at all. But, you know, it's just a change of scene because she's not feeling too well. And she's sat here looking at me thinking, what on earth is this guy saying? Why is he screaming into this microphone? Who's he speaking to? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 389 Bitcoin coming down, 368 Bitcoin at 20,700. The liquidity is starting to pick up right here. Will the interest of traders inside of this zone right here come in and do exactly what they did last week? They did exactly the same move last week, ladies and gentlemen. And look, if the dollar index has been set up to drop, then we would see dollar index come back down and and recover the vector candles inside of this range right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Are they going to do it? Stop hunt rise to the upside. Falter inside of this area to rip back down again. Maybe consumer sentiment. Could that be the reason why the dollar index drops? Are we going to see consumer sentiment actually drop across the board? Here we go. What have we got here? 4-minute chart. No, I don't want the 4-minute chart. Here we go. Start of the new violet candle. We still got 15 more minutes until the start of the New York futures session itself. Liquidity coming in at the lows, ladies and gentlemen. 400, nearly 700 Bitcoin at 20,700. The delta looks like it's starting to increase inside this area. Let's see if it can actually hold. But last week's low is a big spot, so they could bleed out into that zone. So just be mindful. Do not be running shorts from these zones. These zones are tricky to run shorts from because Mr. Market Maker is picking up and he's hitting the bids, making people go short for him to quickly shift back up. The violet vector candle gives you that clue. It tells you that that's the sort of thing that could happen inside of this zone, ladies and gentlemen. So please be mindful of this. USDT breaking out. Let's have a look at USDT. Breaking out. They are seeking safety in the USDT dominance chart itself. But like I said to you before, we've got this imbalance right here. This could be a stop hunt to the upside, trap the traders, get them scared, and then Bitcoin in principle would be reversing once it hits key notable areas. Last week's high right there could be an interesting point. Let's go into Bitcoin right now. Are they going to break down lower? Did they actually take it? Have they actually spiked lower? They haven't hit last week's low, but they are triggering interest from traders. Look at that, man. Look at that. Did they just do it in that split second? Where's the liquidity? Right here. Here we go. 2,186 Bitcoin absorbed. Now we're working 450. Guys, there is a lot of commitment inside here. And ask yourself the question, why is it breaking down and not breaking down? Why are they moving it back into the zone? Remember, each big move that happens in the chart, they're recovering the vector wicks. But each big move that happens inside of the chart, ladies and gentlemen, is designed to make you do something. All right, we saw this exact same behavior last week, ladies and gentlemen. They hit the lows with all the commitment down here. Just look at the chart. Now you can see, look, this is where commitment is. Commitment over here, commitment up here, which takes us to 23. That will be a nice dream come true if Bitcoin was able to go from here to 23. But we would need to see a big truckload of liquidity to come in, because you can see inside these areas, this is where traders were previously placing orders to sell. The book map is imbalanced to limit sales right now. So they're going to look to try and mark price up. There's a gap inside the actual ask and the bid right here. 1,465 Bitcoin has been absorbed at the lows, and they seem to, did you see that? Did you see that order down there? A dark red came in, placed an order, cancelled. Okay, something is brewing, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to see some absolute madness in the chart. I'm getting kind of excited because I'm going to then be able to help you understand the narrative of the hybrid system in helping you understand how to apply it. All right, when you see these candlesticks where traders run and go short when they see these big candles and then they get shaken out because the price ends up reversing. It's not no mad thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's because that's how people work. People go short when price drops. People don't go short when price rises. What do? You sell from the highest point. You don't sell from the lowest point. The math doesn't make sense. You don't go and buy an expensive car to sell it even cheaper. You try and buy it so that it can create value so you can sell it at a higher price. Collectible cars, Rolexes, you name it. That's the whole point. So why is it any different in the marketplace? Okay? Now, what have we got here? You okay, my darling? My daughter is kind of scared of me talking in the mic. She's actually scared. She's sat in the corner of the room wondering, why am I shouting? Why am I shouting? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me just quieten it down a little bit for the mini market maker to keep things cool, calm and collected. You can hear her in the background. Now, 20 past 2, ladies and gentlemen, we can see the liquidity has been added and it seems to be static inside of this zone. Let me just expand this up. Okay, Bitcoin's making a move. Wait there. Let me just drop this down, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, then. All right, so we've got liquidity. We've got liquidity down at 3. Sorry, my darling? Oh, my days. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. She stood here and she's like listening to me, just shouting at the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me. It's not normally this happens. She's not well, so I'm looking after her today. But anyways, listen, consider that 2,179 Bitcoin and the Delta. They've hit the bids very aggressively. That tells me that this is where Mr. Market Maker is building his longs at low prices. Ask yourself the question, why isn't Bitcoin breaking down? Roll over to the dollar index. It's starting to pull back, ladies and gentlemen. Euro USD starting to try to come back up. News announcements coming out at 3 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. Could this be a setup? Do we think that consumer confidence is high? Is it possible that we could say that? I don't know, because the last reading was 97, all right? No, the last reading was 98.7. If we see a reduction in the consumer confidence, that is going to reflect that price has been set up to absorb that in. All right, so that means it's bad news for the dollar. If it's bad news for the dollar index will then come back down into the recovery of these green vector candles over here. And you can see that it looks like it wants to try and do that. No different to what they did last week, ladies and gentlemen, on the reversal day, where they dropped, Bitcoin didn't move, they came up, and then they came down, and then Bitcoin initiated its move up. Green vector candle right here, we would look to see them getting realized and price coming back down, which is going to set us up for Bitcoin's move. Here we go. Look, it's doing great, man. I love that it come towards last week's low and held. Violet vector candle. Let me just go into the higher time frames. On the hour time frame, we've got 40 minutes until that actually finalizes. No vector candle right there. 2 hour chart itself. Nothing happening on there. No, nothing on there. 4 hour chart. Any vectors that we could come into? Yeah, we understand that's the point that we can see price go back into. The 8 hour chart itself, fully recovering. Man, look at that, man. Look at that. Complete recovery of that green vector candle. Unbelievable. Complete recovery. There's nothing else in sight on the higher time frames for vector recovery. So would this be the spot that Bitcoin reverses from on the news of the consumer sentiment? Is it being designed by principle to reverse back up? Let's just go into the smaller time frames for a split second to see what Bitcoin's doing. Any stopping volume candles happening? There we go. Big stopping volume candle happening right there, ladies and gentlemen. More importantly, what we need to do is we need to bring in happy birthday to Jordan. Happy birthday, Jordan. Whoever Jordan is. Which Jordan? Happy days, man. Okay, then. So let me just put this up here. Bring up the book map. Right, I need to bring the book map in close. Bitcoin's making that sharp reversal, man. Look at how everyone would come to the market, sell off any news that has triggered the markets to sell price down, move price down. Big stopping volume candle. The cause for concern is we see a little bit of a relief rally, and then they may come back into the recovery of this this red vector candle right here, ladies and gentlemen. So just please be mindful of this zone, given that Bitcoin is actually doing a drop to the downside. Perfectly tapped the 1.618 ratio for the ABCD pattern. There we go, my Elliott Wave traders, my Wyckoff guys. Happy days. Listen, this system is taking two schools of thought and putting it to the market. Whether one school of thought predicts one thing or the other, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, we are dealing with human nature. It doesn't change. There will be fearful traders. There will be greedy traders. They will always appear at certain points in the chart. Our goal is to try and capitalize on that and take all other assets across the board and try and make sense of the flow of money in and out of these assets. Okay? There is no one sound, solid indicator that will guarantee to you that it will always go here, left, right, and center. There's nothing guaranteed in the game of uncertainty, ladies and gentlemen. Once you accept that, you will then be able to holistically take any strategy that you want to use and you'll dive into it and give it a chance, because the only way that you can apply a system correctly is sample size, ladies and gentlemen. Do not judge a system after you've taken 5 trades and you've lost. You ain't in the game. That's not how you come to the game of trading. You need sample size. And you guys have sat with me long enough to understand that the hybrid system is a good system at helping you understand the intention of the market. There's a reason why they come back into the vector candles. It's no surprise and it's no joke. It's because of the principle of market maker gets his longs filled at the lowest point. He traps traders to the downside and then reverses price back up. Why has it just done this? Why is it the possibility that the red vector candle or the violet vector candle inside of this candlestick right here is looking to get recovered? How would you be of that understanding? You bring me a sweet, my darling. Thank you so much. I can't eat that sweet. No.
What is it?
I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, Mini Market Maker has provided me some sweets.
It's a chocolate.
Lovely. Looking at the violet vector candle, it's doing its business. Guys, we saw this last time in here. They did exactly the same thing. Commitment down at the lows, and they're coming back in to trigger those. Is this going to be the start of something? You know what? I hope it does it. I hope it does it, because you can see how we are taking different bits of information and putting it to use in the chart. And we don't know. It's all about confluences. All right? That's what's important about this. It's all about confluences. Me, market maker has just left the building, ladies and gentlemen. I feel so bad. Honestly, I really do. She's waiting for me to sit and chill out with her, which I am going to do very shortly. I just want to bring in the open of the futures markets, which is now in 6 minutes time. We've had a lot of movement in the actual futures, the pre-New York session itself. The Brinks box has initiated a trap lower and it hasn't followed through. Delta has increased aggressively on the book map. Liquidity is coming in. Limit sells are starting to come in. Well, actually, limit buys are starting to have the imbalance in the chart, which is going to make sense if Bitcoin is actually going to move higher. So we want to see Bitcoin get absorbed with all this liquidity here to see it reverse back up. This is what we're looking for. Okay. Now, with that being said, guys, I need to just pull up the S&P itself to see if we're going to see the open. Here we go. We've got a gap up in the S&P. S&P's got a little bit of a gap up right there. We've got 25 minutes, 5 minutes until the actual futures market's open. S&P itself is holding inside of that zone. Let's go to Ethereum for a split second. Holding, nothing much is happening there. Let's go to XRP. XRP is not doing much right there. How many of you are in the room, man? 1,800 of you. Mad love and respect, man. How you doing today, guys? I'd be an alcoholic if it wasn't for trading. Oh my, you lost all that beer money. I like that. I like that. Listen, guys, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, download these indicators. They are free of charge. All right, go into the description of the live stream and you'll be able to go to tradersreality.com and download it. It takes you straight back to TradingView. More importantly, guys, if you want to learn more about the hybrid system, make your way over to Patreon where you can have a look at all the masterclass sessions that we do. Got 71 masterclass sessions that go through everything. But I will say this, don't join now. Wait until the start of the new month because you will be charged twice. So please be mindful of that, guys. Don't do anything this side of the month. Wait until the start of a new month and then it's all happy days from there. Okay, cool. Right, let's have a look at what's going on here now. We're starting to see some movement. New York's opening in 4 minutes time, man. Come on, this time is taking absolutely forever. Got my daughter getting impatient. They need to start moving the marketplace. Here we go. So the delta has now hit twice. 2,894 delta at the lows. They're hitting the bids and picking up longs at shorter prices. Why? Because that's what happens. When people sell, Mr. Market Maker buys, because you can't sell if no one buys. You can't buy if no one sells. Looking at the delta pickup right now, you can see 103 right there, 849, and we've got 649 at the lows. Is the delta accumulation now starting to slow down? So are they slowing down with the idea of picking up longs at lower prices? Could we see the reversal from here and they start lifting the ask and start testing the commitment of traders inside of these zones up here at 22,400? But the first area which there is a bit of a problem for is this zone right here. Because look, the traders that came in here didn't come into the chart when price came back to that point. So that tells us that there could be a bit of weakness. If they don't come up, if they come back up to this zone and they don't have the same interest from traders inside of this area, Bitcoin's going to find resistance at the 21,600 zone and it's going to drop. That'll be a massive resistance point. All right. We haven't tested the daily open. An ideal scenario, ladies and gentlemen, would be the daily open to be taken today. That will be a nice story for us. We have had the mini market maker projection earlier on, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know what she said. Well, we know what she said, but we don't know if it's going to be true or not. All right. But paying attention to Bitcoin's price action right now, there is lots of liquidity coming into the chart and we're waiting just for that New York futures markets to open. They're doing the recovery. I'm going to bring up the smaller time frame just so that you can see what it's like when they start getting a bit tricky with the open of the session itself. Look, the Brinks box is formulating that play right now, ladies and gentlemen. Look, you've got the drop, the retrace, Brinks box high, come back down, Brinks box low. The Brinks box is kind of wide, ladies and gentlemen. So we could get ourselves some very interesting price action today. Let's pull up the book map to see if they are actually going to do it. I need to bring the book map closer just so that you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Again, ladies and gentlemen, forgive me for today. Okay, not that it's a problem that my daughter's with us, ladies and gentlemen. It's just the first time the mini market maker is with us in the live streams. And it's a pleasure to have my daughter here. I just feel bad, that's all. Here we go. Just pay attention right here. Got a nice little pool of liquidity right here where 251 Bitcoin was placed and cancelled. So principally, if price comes up back up above the VWAP itself, that'll be a good sign for us to see price going over. We got commitment inside of these zones right here. Big delta down here. 1,251 Bitcoin at the lows and they're bouncing away from it. That's consistent with reversal points for the market maker if he has hit the lows and picked up as many longs as possible on the trader that is selling to the downside. Remember, When the bids are being hit, people are selling. You can sell when someone buys. When the bids lift, when the ask is being lifted, it means people are buying because they are being sold to at premium by yours truly, Mr. Market Maker. My days, man. Let's have a look. Here we go. Here we go. One more minute, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to your horses. Here we go. She will be well, Sam. Thank you very much, my bro. Thank you very much, my bro. Quickly, let's have a look at gold. We got one more. How long we got? 31 seconds to quickly flick over to gold. What's the story with gold? Gold, listen. Gold will react to the news today. If it's positive for the dollar, gold will drop and recover the previous blue vector candle in this zone. Okay? If it's bad news for the dollar, gold will actually shoot back up and look to try and recover some of the liquidity upside here. Keep an eye out on gold, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just quickly bring Bitcoin up. Here we go. Here we go. We got some movement. Are we going to see that move? Here we go. Get back up at that VWAP, man. We need to see it go back up that VWAP, but you can see the delta right here. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. New York session. You ready? Mini market maker, where you at? You ready for the market? You say yeah? Say yeah. Oh, she's nodding. She's nodding, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go. New York futures markets are open. Half an hour's time, consumer sentiment will be coming out. Now you're going to start seeing the market making its presence known. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We need to get above that VWAP itself, guys. VWAP, then the liquidity should be coming in. And hopefully we can try and at least take yesterday's low, because Bitcoin hasn't seen the daily open today. It hasn't triggered it. It hasn't done anything. We haven't seen that. If they can't get above that point, guys, and at least get back up above 21,100, Bitcoin ain't going anywhere but to the downside. It's just going to be trending lower. It's going to keep on trending lower until the Fed comes out with its information. And to be honest with you, if they trade Bitcoin lower up until the Fed, and the Fed increases the interest rates as they projected to, and it is 75 basis points, and with no surprises of 100 basis points, then Bitcoin's just going to build up that steam to just drop. Naturally, you're going to want it to rise before you want it to drop. But also, if you want it to rise, you want to see it drop. That's the truth. Here we go. Getting faster. It's getting faster, guys. Liquidity is disappearing right here. Remember the first few moments of the New York session, we've only got 1 minute and 20 seconds into the New York futures markets. Please be mindful. Don't do anything. This is a busy time in the charts. Excuse me, madam. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can't do that. No, you can't. You can't. Oh, my days. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nah, guys, man, thank you so much for that. Do you want some ice cream? You want some ice cream for your throat? Okay, then. Well, the kind lady or gentleman has given you some money for some ice cream. So we'll go and get some ice cream later, yeah? But Bitcoin needs to go to the daily open. Otherwise, you can't get it. Oh, can you hear that? She's got a real bad sore throat, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, then listen. Jokes aside, guys, God bless all of you for your patience with my daughter with us today, the mini market maker. She's here with us. I will introduce her to you. Say, hey, guys.
Hello.
Say Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down. Actually, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, mad love and respect. I will have to end the live because I've got to tend to my daughter, man. But I'll be going live later on tonight. If you are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll be checking in with the madness. Remember, 3 p.m. is the magic hour. News announcement comes out at 3 p.m., guys. Be very careful with this low point in the chart. There is commitment down here. They've hit the bids, and they haven't followed through with it. Just be careful with this price point, guys, if you're running shorts. If you do run your shorts, pay yourselves. If you run your longs, trade into your moving averages. Pay yourselves continuously, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Listen, mad love and respect to you all, and I'll be checking in with you all later on tonight. Have a great day, guys. Mad love. Peace. You say bye?
Bye.
She says bye.